Welcome to Green Beans, the show where two boys dressed in green sit on beans and chat about life. I am your host, Jared, and with me here is my co-host and brother, Ethan.
Sup?
And, today we're back after a few months. Our last episode was in August.
Yep.
But now we're back for our special Thanksgiving special.
Yeah. In this episode, we are unfortunately not sitting on beans.
No.
Because I left my bean at college.
Disappointing.
I know.
So, today we're just boys dressed in green, sitting.
I don't even have my green beans shirt. I forgot that at school, too. I'm very unprepared.
Disappointing, but it's all right. We're going to make it work. And, yeah, so... like I said, we're recording this on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. And Ethan's home from college for the holidays.
Yep, I'm home for a week, and then I go back to school for like another 3 weeks, and then I come back home again.
Yeah, busy holiday time. So
if you are watching this on video, you'll notice that Jared and I are both sporting beards.
Yes.
And since we are both not full adults, our beards don't grow in fully yet. They're kind of like Amish mutton chops.
Yeah.
Because, it's November, and November means No Shave November.
No Shave November. So, yeah, for anybody unfamiliar, it's sort of a tradition for the entire month of November, just forego shaving and sort of grooming products in order to help raise awareness for men's health issues like cancer and things like that. And, people will see that, like, we have a beard, which we don't normally, and they'll say, like, oh, why you have a beard? And then we can, talk to them about the No Shave November and what it's about. And it's also just a fun time, always every year just to see how much progress your beard's making.
Yeah, and Jared, don't you have a GoFundMe?
No, it's not a GoFundMe. It's actually through, so No Shave November is a nonprofit charity organization, and through their system, I have an account set up where people can make donations to support the National LGBT Cancer Network. So I'll put the link for that in the description. If you're interested, check it out, donate. It helps cancer research and cancer patients.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're doing that, Jared. That is really awesome.
Yeah. I'm very happy to help out, and because, it's not really any extra work on my end, and I just get to grow a beard and then hopefully raise some charity money. So it's a good time.
Yeah. I remember, like, every single year I would do, well, there's 1 year I didn't do No Shave November, and I was very sad. But I've done No Shave November every year of my life. Although the early years are not very impressive.
Yeah.
5-year-old Ethan could not grow a beard, obviously.
Still didn't shave, though. Still
that's
going strong.
True. I did not shave. But it's cool because every year my beard gets a tiny, tiny bit better.
Yeah, same here.
So every year I'm like, oh, this patch is finally growing in.
Yeah. I have the issue with my mustache. That's my biggest problem area. Because, I'm sure the viewers can see if they're watching on YouTube, but it's somewhat full in the, like, sideburn and full on the cheeks, chin area. But then the mustache is a little bit lacking. And especially when I mentioned that my mustache has actually been growing out more than just November. My mustache, I gave a 3-week head start than the rest of my beard. And it's still so lackluster compared to the rest.
Yeah, it's very tiny.
It's a little embarrassing, but what can you do?
Yeah, my mustache, not great either, but it's better than it has been. Yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing because if you could only have one, like a beard or a mustache, I would choose to have a mustache and not a beard because, like, that's a good style. Like, tons of people, I think the mustache is especially coming back in recent years. Like, you see people rocking the stash quite often.
Yeah.
But how often you see people just rocking a beard without a stash, like, then they look Amish, which, no problem with that. If you're Amish, good for you. I'm probably not watching this then. But Yeah, so it's a little bit of a bummer that currently my just rocking the beard with embarrassing stash, but hopefully in the future my stash will start to grow in more full.
Yeah, I think it was either 1 or 2 years ago. I grew just a mustache for like 2 months, and it got like the tiniest little caterpillar on my lip. For 2 months, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, which so this sort of can transition us into our next topic, is that I was actually worried that this year I wasn't going to be able to do No Shave November because I was in a play in November.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's very exciting because I'm sure I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but I'm somebody who's very into the arts. I love theater and drama and acting. And, because of COVID, theater was sort of put on a hiatus and we weren't able to do much in the whole theater world during the pandemic. I mean, obviously we're still in the pandemic, but things have actually gotten good enough that just a couple weeks ago, I think it was about 2 weeks ago from the time recording this, that we had our first live theater show since 2019.
Yeah. I went to go see that, and it wasn't the first play I've seen since 2019, because my college did a few shows in person that I got to see. But this was the first high school one I got to see.
Yes. And so like I said, I was a bit nervous that I wasn't going to be able to do No Shave November because in the play, the play was a show called Puffs, or 7 Increasingly Eventful Years at a Certain School of Magic and Magic. And it's sort of, it's based on that story of an 11-year-old boy who finds out he's a wizard. I'm sure you're all familiar with the tale. Technically, I'm not supposed to say what the story it is based off of because it's not like officially licensed or anything. So the book series that turned into 8 movies where there was a wizard boy who went to a wizard school, that whole thing. This was a sort of parody almost of that. It was heavily inspired from that story, and in the show Puffs, there's 4 houses at this school, and the house called the Puffs is sort of like the side characters in the original series, but now in this show they become the main characters, and it focuses on their story through the 7 years of the original books.
Yeah, and it was a 2.5 hour play.
Yeah, it was a long show.
It was long.
It was I didn't really. It's weird because as an actor in the show, and I was playing a character named Oliver Rivers, so like there were like sort of 3 main characters, which was a trio of friends. There was the like main guy whose name is Wayne, then his nerdy best friend Oliver, who I played Oliver, and then the girl who was in their trio was named Megan. And Megan and Oliver have sort of a love interest going on later in the show. A little spoilery, but oh well. And yeah, so I was playing Oliver, and as an actor in the show, like everything is happening so quickly, and there's so much adrenaline going on these show nights that like it doesn't feel like it's going by slowly at all. Like it feels like it's going by very fast. I remember like I had a watch on as part of my costume, and the first show, it was a Thursday night, and we've started the show, we're doing great, and I look down at my watch thinking it's probably like 20 minutes into the show. We're like over an hour into the show at that point.
Wow.
And I was like, dang, wow. Like I was so surprised by how far we'd gotten into the show. So yeah, like you said, the show actually, it started around 7, and it ended pretty consistently. We had 3 shows, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. And it pretty consistently ended around 9:40 each night. So that's that doesn't include the 15-minute intermission.
Yeah.
But, yeah, pretty long show. But yeah, the reason I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to do No Shave November is because when we start out the show, I'm supposed to be like an 11-year-old kid, and 11-year-olds don't typically have beards.
I don't know. I've actually never met one. Never mind. That was a dumb comment.
But so yeah, then I was worried that my director was going to want me to shave for the show. But then it turned out that we needed to wear face masks for the show because of COVID, which it's a little disappointing because, then huge parts of acting are facial expressions and, it muffles the sound a bit, but overall, not a terrible experience, and I feel like everybody did a good job projecting. Obviously, we did it for the safety of our actors and our audience, and I do think wearing masks was the right decision, but it was a little disappointing because that meant that, less acting can be seen from our faces. But the super bright side of that was that I didn't have to shave, because if I'm wearing a mask for our shows, most people can't see my face. Like, you just see sort of the very edges, like my sideburns, and that's whatever. So I didn't shave for the shows, and I had a beard under that mask during the shows, and it was great.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time, dude.
Yeah.
I thought the show was pretty good. I thought you guys did a good job. It was definitely a corny show.
Yes. There were
Very
a lot of
corny.
There were a lot of. It was supposed to be a funny show. It's sort of like a comedic retelling of the original that it's based off of. And yeah, if you're a fan of the original series, there are definitely a lot of jokes that only fans will understand. There's also a lot of jokes that are hopefully just funny in general, but it's definitely a corny show, and it.
Yeah, and if you've never seen the books that is based off of, you've never read it, you've never seen the movies,
yeah.
I feel like it would be pretty confusing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, because that's something that. Because, various actors and crew people from the show, during the couple weeks leading up to the show, like, teachers would ask us to, like, give a little advertisement for the show to our classmates and be like, hey, guys, we're doing this show called Puffs, come see the show, and, like, give a brief description of the show. And, some of my fellow classmates who were part of the show said, like, oh, if you haven't seen the original series, like, this will still make sense. And when they were saying that, I'm just thinking, like, I don't think it will. Like, I disagree with you on that one. I think it'll be really confusing.
It was very heavily based off of the original source material.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, yeah. I really enjoyed seeing you. I left school just to see you.
Yeah, the whole, 15-minute drive from your college to my high school.
Yeah, I go to college very far away.
Mm-hmm.
All the way in the town over.
Yep. Yeah, and also something that was cool and unique about this show is that it was my first time ever doing a show that wasn't a musical, which was very exciting for me because I've been doing theater since I was in 6th grade. I've done shows like Alice in Wonderland, Into the Woods, The Little Mermaid, Seussical, and all of those shows are musicals. And obviously I am in choir at school and I enjoy singing, but there's no doubt that I'm a stronger actor than I am a singer. Like, I'm not a bad singer, but my acting is definitely better than the singing. And I enjoy acting more than I enjoy singing. And so I've sort of always wanted to do a show that isn't a musical, because then I can really show off my acting and get a chance to really get in the character and not have to worry about a song every 2 seconds. And this was my first opportunity to do that. I would have done multiple non-musical shows by this point if COVID hadn't canceled a bunch of them, but, it is what it is. But it was a very fun experience because I will say I severely underestimated how difficult it would be to memorize my lines for a show that
for a show that long.
Yeah, and a show that isn't a musical, especially because the longest show that I had done before this show, before Puffs, was called Seussical, the musical, and it was based on Dr. Seuss. It was such a fun show. I loved being a part of it. It was in my freshman year of high school, but that show is based on Dr. Seuss, who rhymes all the time, and almost every line in the show rhymed, which made it really helpful and easier to memorize because everything rhymed. And because if you forget what's coming next, well, you can sort of just think about the rhymes and it'll probably lead you and you'll probably remember more easily. And, it's a musical, songs are catchy and easier to remember than just straight dialogue.
Yeah.
And so then coming to this show, which has no sort of rhyming rhythm to it, and it's just 2.5 hours of talking and I was playing a lead, like I said, it was some pretty intense work of just like remembering all that dialogue. And that was just for me. And I wasn't even like the main lead. Like the person that was playing our main lead, Wayne, so the person that was playing them is named Sam, and Sam like had so many lines throughout the entire thing. Like memorizing that was a beast, but everyone did a great job and we were able to do it. But I think our first time we ever rehearsed the show with everybody totally memorized was probably like 2 days before the show, 2 days before opening night, just because like it was intense, and I definitely was not considering how much work it would be to memorize that much just dialogue.
Did anyone forget their lines during a show?
Oh, there were a lot of moments where people sort of like flubbed up a line, like they sort of didn't say it quite right or got the words mixed up or said something in the wrong order. But overall, I don't think there were any like serious like emergency moments where somebody just like totally blanks on stage. I don't think there was any of that. I think the biggest mess up that, and you know, all the mess ups that we had, this happens in theater all the time, where you have something that goes wrong during a show. It happens every show, no matter what you're doing. But, you know, it's just matters how you can recover from it and how you can roll with it, especially because a lot of the time if you mess something up, unless it's like some huge obvious thing, most of the time nobody in the audience is going to know that you messed up. So if you just roll with it, nobody's going to realize there was any sort of discrepancy there.
Yeah.
And so there is this spell where you say Osseo and then say something, and then it summons whatever object you are trying to summon with it. It's a spell from the show Puffs. And so if you want to say like Osseo phone, then I would use my wand, cast that spell, and then a phone flies into my hand, which really means a phone gets thrown from some crew member backstage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was a big like super climactic like deep scene in the show where, you know, the main trio is like fighting this evil witch. And there's this epic moment when Wayne says, Osseo wand! And then the wands from this evil witch is holding go flying out of her hands. And then like everybody else catches them. And then we turn on her. And it's this big epic moment. But then during one of our shows, our person playing Wayne said, Osseo book instead of wand, just by accident, because, you know, they had to say Osseo book at many other points throughout the show, and they just flubbed up the line here. And then it was kind of awkward because you could tell that my girlfriend was the one that was playing Xavier Jones was the name of this evil witch in this scene, and you could tell that she was like not really sure what to do. Like, do I wait for Wayne to say it again? Do I just throw it and go with it? And we ended up just throwing it, and then we rolled with the scene. It was it was all right, but yeah. So we had moments like that where little things went wrong, but you know, afterwards we can look back on it and laugh at it. And you know, in the course of this like 2.5 hour show, that one tiny little thing that went wrong isn't a huge deal.
Yeah. I've only been in one production ever.
Yeah.
This is like 3 or 4 years ago. And we had a mess up where one of our set pieces just completely fell over.
Oh, yeah. I was in the audience for that, and I remember that happening.
Yeah, and I was like, well, that's cool. I mean, I wasn't on stage at the point. I was backstage, but the people on stage did fine recovering. And, like, now I look back on it, I'm like, that was really funny seeing just that fall over and people be like, oh, no.
Yeah. There can definitely be some humor in like things going wrong. Like so the person that was playing our narrator in the show Puffs also was just like super good at recovering when things went wrong and like improvising and ad-libbing and making stuff up on the spot. And so we had a time during one of our dress rehearsals, I think it was like the day before opening night, and you know, our narrator said their cue for the like set transition and like lights things to be happening, and then nothing happened, and then they walked to the middle of the stage and they like made it seem like that was intentional, and they were like, oh, I guess my magic isn't working, like, and then they like took their wand and like tapped it to their hand and like tried it again, and then like the crew got everything going. But it really like made it. Of course, it was just a dress rehearsal, so there wasn't anybody to see that recovery. But we were good at rolling with things, especially our narrator.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you had a good time with the play.
I am too.
I know I enjoyed it. Let's transition a little bit to the main theme of this episode, I guess, which is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Which is only an American holiday.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of that I kind of like forget that. I feel like this is a very common thing in America, but you kind of forget that like America isn't the center of the world. And so,
I don't know. According to like alien movies, when they're invading the Earth, where do they start?
We start in America.
Start in America.
And you know who made those movies? Americans, most likely, I assume.
I mean, yeah.
And so, yeah, that's something that I sort of forget at times, is that like Thanksgiving is just an American thing. Other countries don't have that. And so like in our Dungeons and Dragons group that, Ethan plays in and I'm the dungeon master of, and we have some other people playing in, I was really hoping to like get everybody back together for a session over Thanksgiving break, because we haven't had a session in a while. But then one of our players is currently in college in Canada, and he doesn't have Thanksgiving break off because Canadians don't celebrate American Thanksgiving. So
which makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
Canadians have their own Thanksgiving. I think it's in October. I don't know what specifically it celebrates. To be honest, don't really understand what American Thanksgiving celebrates.
It's been a while since I've hit the history books, but I'm pretty sure it's the Pilgrims came over and they're like, "Hey, we like this land," and then the Indians are like, or Native Americans, were like, "Hey, this is our land," and then something happened, and then the Pilgrims were like, "Oh, we like you," and then the Native Americans were like, "We like you too," and then they
I feel like that's, that is ringing some bells in my brain, and I think that is pretty much like the main idea of this like narrative that we've been taught about Thanksgiving in like school and stuff. I have a feeling that sort of narrative of like everybody loves each other, happy, is not accurate to what actually happened.
There's definitely some gaps.
Yeah, the Native Americans probably were not thrilled about like these colonizers coming and like taking over their land, and I have a feeling it was not just like this happy get together. But oh well, that's not like, I feel like today when we celebrate Thanksgiving, it's a lot more focused on like
gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude and being thankful for things and like celebrating family and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't fully understand the origins of Thanksgiving, but I understand what it really means now.
Yeah, the holidays definitely evolve over time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like Christmas, for example, it's obviously like originated as a Christian holiday celebrating like Jesus, but now it's just become like Santa Day, and it's all about presents and Santa, and like so many people who aren't remotely religious celebrate Christmas, and
trees and stockings.
Yeah.
It's Christmas carols.
So like,
oh goodness,
yeah,
Christmas
holidays
carols
evolve a lot and change into just like, I guess, more like kid friendly, like happy things.
Yeah. What other holidays have kind of morphed, or like the origin of some holidays I don't understand, like Easter? Where did the bunny come from?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, because like,
why is the bunny relevant to Easter?
Yeah, because like Easter also, just like Christmas, started as like this like religious holiday celebrating Jesus, but now there's like an Easter bunny who poops eggs and then gives you candy.
Yeah,
where did that come from? I don't know. There's also like Easter Island with like the heads. I have no idea how that relates to anything.
I don't know if it does.
Is that related to the holiday, or is it just like coincidentally also named Easter?
Coincidence?
Because there's in the Night at the Museum movie, there's the one who says, "Dum dum, give me gum gum."
Oh yeah, one of the Easter Island head guys.
Yeah. You know what holiday is just like weird is Halloween. Like
Yeah.
Halloween, I once again not super like educated on the origins of holidays, but I don't think Halloween has any like more deep origins.
Well,
It's like the spooky day and then trick or treating
day.
and costumes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is origins to it. I don't know it, but I do know that the Reformation happened on Halloween before Halloween was Halloween. You know what that is?
No, what's that?
Okay, so this man named Martin Luther, but not Martin Luther King, just Martin Luther. He was alive sometime before us.
It's a big old range, but okay.
Yeah, a long, long time ago. And he was like, the church is flawed. And so he wrote it out a lot of flaws for the church. And then he, like, on Halloween, he put it on the door. He nailed it to the door. And he's of the church. And he's like, you guys have some problems. And the church was like, that's not cool.
Okay.
Because this was like very, very long time ago. I'm gonna look it up when Martin Luther was alive.
Yo, if you Google Martin Luther, it's just gonna be Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther Reformation.
Okay.
This happened in. Oh, he was born in 1483.
I mean, you were accurate in some time before we were born.
Yeah, so in like the 1500s, he was like, "Yo, church, what you doing?"
Interesting. You see, what do you think is the like age limit for trick or treaters?
90.
90. You're telling me if there's some 89-year-old strolling up to your house, like knock knock, and just like wearing a like Superman costume, holding out a bag, and says trick or treat, that's not going to seem like odd to you?
No, I love it. I love old people who trick or treat. Not that I see many, but
Yeah, I don't think I have seen.
or like, if some old guy decided to be like old Loki from Loki,
that would be cool.
that would be cool. But like, in my opinion, trick or treating should be for everyone. I mean, if you want candy and you want free candy, go to door and take people's candy.
It's true. Yeah. I didn't go trick or treating last year because COVID, and this year I didn't go trick or treating also because COVID's still a thing. Get vaccinated.
And it was raining.
Yeah, it was also raining, but yeah, I didn't really feel like it this year. I did go to a Halloween party and with a few friends, and my I was a Squid Game guard. It was a fun costume. I feel like that was probably a popular costume throughout the world. This
I
year.
imagine, yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool. I had my my black mask. It has a square on it, and then I had my like pink coat with my hood up. It was cool. It was fun. But yeah, one of my one of my teachers at school is like crazy about Halloween. He loves Halloween. Like so much. It's his favorite day of the year. He loves it. Well, I don't know if it's his favorite day of the year. Maybe his kid's birthday. I don't know. But it's his favorite holiday of the year. And he like in his classroom at school, he has a counter that says days till Halloween. And it has like a little chalkboard. And he consistently updates it throughout the entire year. It'll just be like the middle of January. And it's like, like 300 whatever days until Halloween. And he goes crazy about Halloween. On this year, it was so funny. On Halloween this year, I believe, was on a Sunday. So yeah. So on the Friday before Halloween, there were a few teachers that came in to school dressed in costumes, and it was great. So this teacher was dressed in this huge Olaf costume from Frozen. There was a teacher that was dressed as Elsa. One of our other teachers, he was dressed as Tinkerbell.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, Halloween.
Yeah.
Weird day.
I dressed up as Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because my roommate and his girlfriend were Ferris and Sloan is
Yeah.
what, yeah. And then we went to a museum and took pictures. It was actually the coolest thing.
That's cool.
And then I got to wear my costume to a hockey game because I do the pep band at my college. So I played drums for the pep band.
Nice.
And at a hockey game, I got to wear my costume and play drums as Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So that was fun. That was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And yeah, other than that, my Halloween was kind of stinky. I just stayed in my room eating candy corn.
Nice. What are your thoughts on candy corn?
Well, I bought a big bag of it, so I like it enough to eat a big bag.
To be honest, I don't like candy corn that much.
It's neither candy nor corn.
Well, it's probably candy.
I mean, yeah, it's candy.
It's definitely not corn.
Not corn.
I don't know. I feel people have very strong feelings on candy corn. Like, they either love it or they hate it.
I don't know. It tastes like fine, so
I don't really
I'll
like
eat
it that much.
I'll eat it. It's like something that I don't want to have that often, but like if once a year during Halloween, I'll take some. It's good.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you're in your pep band at school where you play at hockey games. That sounds like a lot of fun. I hope when I'm in college, I can do something like that.
Yeah, because the pep band is essentially a lot of like concert instruments. You know, you got trumpet, saxophone, flutes. I don't think my pep band has any clarinets. Now that I think about it, I don't know.
Huh. No cloutists.
No cloutists, no. But we have our rhythm section is like drums, bass, auxiliary percussion. So that's like just cowbell, quad toms. If you know what that is, it's just like 4 drums, bass drum, bells. So that's like a xylophone but metal.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so I, this year, got to do sort of a similar thing for one of my high school's football games. It was the last game of the season. I think it was in October, probably. And, yeah, so we had a pep band sort of thing going, and I was playing in that. I played bass clarinet, and it was kind of cool, actually, because our band director wasn't able to come this year, so but rather than just like, oh, band director can't come, let's just not do it, one of our senior students really like took initiative, and she wanted it to happen again because she wanted everybody to play in this because it's sort of a tradition of our school. And so she sort of put together the whole thing and arranged it, and she was like directing the band the night, and she did a great job. It was a lot of fun. And although it was a little disappointing because our team, like our school's team, got destroyed. Like they lost real bad at the game. And so yeah, we picked somebody who had like a lower instrument, and I was the one that was chosen with my bass clarinet. And so I was assigned, okay, whenever our team gets a touchdown, play your lowest note that you can possibly play on your instrument, just crank that out as loud as you can. It's sort of just like this horn siren thing to celebrate the touchdowns. Yeah, I got to do that once.
Oh, one touchdown?
Yeah, well, the band was only playing for the first half.
Okay.
There was one touchdown in the first half from our team. There were multiple from the other team. I don't remember how much there was in the second half because I wasn't playing. But yeah, that was a little disappointing. I was so excited to just belt out this low E flat, but I got to do it once, and the crowd was cheering so loud that I don't think anybody heard it. Yeah, I don't think anybody heard it, but oh well.
Yeah, every time someone scores in hockey for our team, we play a song that we call Number One because we played a lot, so it's Number One. And the drum part for it is not particularly hard. It's just when you're in the moment and my director says, Number One, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So beginning of the year, I'd mess it up all the time. But then finally, very recently, within the past few weeks, I finally got it down, and I'm like, okay, I'm not ruining the band anymore, because if I don't start on drums right, then the band's like, where's the tempo? What are we doing?
Percussion is very important for things like pep band.
Yeah, so I finally got that down after however many months. And yeah, so our current like section leader for rhythm, because we have a section leader for every section, he's actually an alumni, so he can't actually be there the whole time because we're kind of a lot of new people are in rhythm right now. I'm one of those people. So he can't be there all the time. And so recently he couldn't be there. And I was like, okay, well, I think I'm good enough to like play a game mostly myself. I had another drummer there that I could swap if I needed to, but I played a game basically myself. And I was like, wow, I feel accomplished because half those songs I've never played before and I just had to randomly hit things. But, you know, it's fun because it's really fast paced. You know, you like at any moment, whenever like the puck is not on the ice, you're like, all right, let's play. And then he gives us like a count of 4 and he's like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, go. So it's fast paced, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
That's cool. So I think this is the time of the episode where you hit us up with a fossil fact.
Oh my goodness. I've been dying to say one of these for a while. So, rather recently, the trailer or a trailer for Jurassic World Dominion came out. It's considered a prologue, and it's actually really cool. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's on YouTube, and essentially it's just detailing like kind of the dinosaurs from Jurassic World, except in the Cretaceous period, so 65 million years ago, and it's just dinosaurs, and that's it, living in the Cretaceous. So I guess my fossil fact is it was cool to see that, you know, because Jurassic Park is just dinosaurs in the now, but then we got to see like those Jurassic Park dinosaurs back when they were actually alive, and we got to see how we got the DNA to clone those dinosaurs. I will preface, though, they had a fight between a Tyrannosaurus and a Giganotosaurus, which those two dinosaurs did not live at the same time. So,
wow. Disappointed in you, Jurassic World.
Tyrannosaurus lived at the very end of the Cretaceous period, like 65 million years ago, and Giganotosaurus lived kind of in the middle of the Cretaceous period, around like 90 million years or 97 million years ago. So about a 30 million year gap, but you know, common mistake.
Yeah. All right. So unless there's anything else you want to add, I think that's going to bring us to the end of today's episode.
Hey, thanks guys for tuning in. This is just going to be a little special we're doing for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving special. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah. I'm grateful and thankful for the 20 viewers we have. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching our stuff.
Thanks for tuning in. Remember to check out that link in the description of the episode to check out our No Shame November page, possibly donate to the LGBT National Cancer Network. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Maybe you'll see us again on here at some point.
Winter break is next month.
Guess we'll find out. See ya.
Bye-bye.